Ready? Yep, you live, right?
Hello, everyone. Woo! Welcome back. Welcome to another week of Live with Rye Friends on Broadway. Give it a round of applause for Miles, our incredible accompanist. Thank you for that, Miles. How's everyone? Good. All right. Well, great to see some new faces, some old faces back. For the new ones, welcome. Where the fuck you been? No, so happy to have everyone here. How's everyone's week been? Yeah. Did you guys? Anyone see any good shows?
Good ones?
Well, or shows in general. How about you, Kitty? Did you see any? What was your favorite this week?
My favorite this week was actually today, Phantom.
Phantom.
Just because my seat and the fact that it's a Thursday matinee.
Yeah, that's great. They did a Thursday matinee. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so thrilled you're here. We have a great show for you today, and as you see, I've got pins galore. As I said, I feel like a freaking 78-year-old grandmother. Like, I'm collecting these pins like they're going out of business. This is what I saw this week: Phantom of the Opera, Come From Away, Utopia, and then this pin with the red stripe is actually from Broadway Cares. During the height of the pandemic, when everything was closed, if you recall the Broadway flea market, they were doing, if you got this pin, it helped to keep the lights on. And so it's the ghost light with the Broadway Cares pin around it. And of course, I have to say hello to my friends at home. Welcome, welcome. I'm so sorry I didn't say hello at first, but yeah, so I swear I try not to look like a Fridays waitress and waiter with this. So I thought 4 was doable. I saw American Utopia last night. Don't hate me. I thought it was terrible. I'm not a fan of it. It was not for me. I'm glad I won the lottery. I was not a fan, but happy to have at least experienced it. Have you seen American Utopia, Jared, or do you know David Byrne from
I know the name.
Talking Heads?
I've seen a Broadway show since I think I saw Book of Mormon. And I was still living in Vegas there on that shit. So
Gotcha. Well, it was
5 years in Key West without a show.
Well, it was not very good. But for those who don't know, it did extend, I think, until the first week of April. So I also wanted to let you all know, too, I also have my specialty cocktail tonight, which is the Rye cocktail. It is Crown Royale, peach schnapps, Sprite, and cranberry juice. So if you want that, it's $13. And I do it exclusively here every week, the Rye cocktail. And now let's get into some Broadway news. At the top of each show, I always do some Broadway news. So some exciting things this week. So I don't know if you saw, did anyone see Winnie the Pooh when it was here? You saw it? Yes? Did you like it? Was it? And did you guys see it? The off-Broadway Winnie the Pooh? So there was this off-Broadway Winnie the Pooh. It's Disney's, but it's not produced by Disney. It's produced by the Rockefeller Group. So it's not like Disney theatrical. But it was a hit, and the puppets were sort of like almost mini life-size, sort of, right? It's coming back to Broadway, to Theater Row, June 18th to July 31st. So, if you like Winnie the Pooh, and families, if you're looking for anything to do for the kids, definitely do that. And the Golden Girls, a puppet parody, is going to return at Theater Row, April 29th through May 29th. This was apparently a big hit, I believe, pre-COVID, and it's coming back. So I'm actually pretty excited to see the Golden Girls puppet show. And of course, I want to congratulate Brittany Johnson, who made history this past week as the first Black Glinda to take over the role. So Brittany Johnson why this is significant for those who don't know, Brittany Johnson has played Glinda as the standby, but there's never been a Black African-American leading Glinda in the leading role full-time. So she took over full-time this week, and I'm so, so happy for her. And before we continue, I do just want to shout out tonight's sponsors. This is the first week that we're starting sponsorships, and I am so excited for my sponsor, Broadway Plus. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Broadway Plus. They have provided our trivia giveaways for tonight, which we'll get to soon. But for those who don't know, Broadway Plus, since its founding in 2016, has garnered incomparable press as the industry leading in connecting people with Broadway in a whole new way. Broadway Plus is the only official provider of VIP experiences for Broadway, and the #1 platform for booking Broadway artists, and the only luxury concierge service dedicated to Broadway. They're actually also one of the only few places that I kept the lights on for a lot of artists during the height of the pandemic when we were in lockdown, because they went digital, and so a lot of these artists got to do coachings and masterclasses. And as somebody who's on their roster as a host, I got to host a lot of these events, and it was beautiful to see. We got to do, people in Western bit of America got to, hear from the cast of Wicked. It was pretty cool. For some of the artists that you can see on Broadway Plus, whether you want to do for a shout out, or meet and greet, include, well, of course, yours truly, myself, I'm on there, but also Adam Pascal, Alex Brightman, Beth Level, Candace Bushnell from Sex and the City, the creator of Sex and the City, Christopher Jackson, Shoshana Bean, Orfeh, Laura Benanti, and Maribel Bundy. So once again, let's give another round of applause for Broadway Plus. Thank you. Okay, and finally, so I'm curious on your take. I was reading this week that there seems to be some anxiousness amongst producers that as we get into the spring, we have a jam-packed spring coming with a ton of shows that are supposed to open, that the newer shows will be forgotten and ignored for some of the bigger hits or the bigger sort of highly anticipated new shows. What are your thoughts? Before I ask, when we reopened for COVID, this was sort of the case. Some of the newer shows that were big did better than some of the newer shows. But do you think some of these newer shows coming in will do pretty well, or do you think it's still this summer, this spring, it's all going to be the big hits that people come and see? Yeah. I think some of the new ones, but I think Funny Girl will probably be some of that. I think that, but I hope there's a few good ones. I'm sure Beetlejuice and that, but I think Funny Girl will probably be one of the bigger new ones aside from what's already running. So anyway, with that, let's get on with tonight's show. Please help me welcome my incredible special guest tonight. He is somebody who I just absolutely adore. He is so talented, and we met, I guess, a year ago now when I was going to the gym. I was working out at Orange Theory, and I do love them, and I shout out to Orange Theory. I mean, I've been with them since 2019, and they are great if you love a group workout class. And I met Mick, and he is wonderful and so talented. He's been on the national tour of Peter and the Starcatchers. He's performed all over the world, Disneyland, Tokyo, Paris. So please help me welcome my very special guest, MICK RAFALKSKI. Hi, Mick.
How you doing?
Good. Did I get the last name right?
RAFALKSKI.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I never, I understand how it is with the last name, so I just want to make sure. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, well, it's thrilled. Jared, do you know how this adjusts? I'm trying to, am I not doing this right? I was trying to, I was just trying to have it not like this. There we go. That's good. Thank you. I love holding the microphone, but I also do. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. There we go. All right. Thank you. I just didn't want, I wanted to.
You gonna hold your mic? No, I can set it up here. I'll follow suit.
Anyway, as he gets that set up. Yeah, I've never seen microphones like this. Thank you, Jared. How did you get? So I always ask, how did you get started in performing? I know you were big into sports in high school, as you talked about on your website, but how did the performing bug come about for you?
Oh, well, I'd always sang with my guitar, and I loved to tinker with the piano. We always had a piano in the house. Had a slot to fill on my schedule in high school, and my girlfriend said, "Hey, you should audition for choir," which was an interesting choice given that I'd been lacing up football cleats for since I was in third grade. But I auditioned, and school had 4,500 kids. There were a plethora of choirs, and I lucked out. They placed me in the top choir, and we competed nationally. So it totally took over kind of everything that I was doing. Started to go to ballet class, which again was just totally different, and I loved it.
Was everything beautiful at the ballet?
Everything, all the girls were beautiful at the ballet. No, the music was beautiful. Everything was beautiful at the ballet.
And for those who don't know, it's a joke from Chorus Line. So that's wonderful. And what particularly about ballet drew you as that sort of your first choice in getting involved in dancing? That's an interesting choice. I wish I had taken it.
Oh, you still can?
Yeah, not with my 2 left feet. For dancing, my dancing days are done.
It was such a contrast to, football was wonderful with camaraderie and sports, but it was this big, tough, always putting up something in the locker room. And when I went into ballet, it was soft music, and it's also very physically challenging. It's definitely not a snooze, but it was just so peaceful, and I loved the community and being around everyone. And also, it wasn't just ballet. I actually walked out of my first ballet class and signed up for tap, jazz, and hip hop, which I didn't exactly keep up with. But I've loved it. Started some voice lessons. Yeah.
Wow. And what drew you sort of to the arts from, you know, what, I mean, I know you had that extra slot in, but what drew you to get involved even with the choir and, you know, I know you had, you know, a guitar, but, you know, people who play instruments, sometimes they don't take the musical theater route. Was there something else that attracted you, or?
I love the performance.
Yeah.
I love the performance. And my family has been musical for very long time. I actually found an ad from 1914 of my great-grandmother's vaudeville show, her and her two sisters.
Well, we're going to talk more about that later.
Sick.
Yes, your great-grandparent.
It ran in the family just a little bit.
Wow.
But I loved performing. And I mean, sports were always kind of a bit of a type of performing, but I also had a bit of an aptitude to it.
And how old were you when you started on the guitar, and did you play any other instruments during that time, or was it primarily guitar?
Some piano. I can accompany myself just a little bit, but hardly halfway decent. I started playing guitar when I was 12. My uncle dropped his guitar off and he restrung it. I'm a lefty.
Okay.
And I just sort of fell in love with that. I always loved the blues. I love improv blues. I still play very often.
So cool.
And yeah, so when I got into show choir, I was literally 17, which is it's total contrast because everybody who's in the city has been generally doing this since they were 3-4 years old. But I absolutely fell in love with it. I did my first musicals, Oklahoma. I played Curly. And
cool.
It was a blast. It was so much fun.
Amazing.
And the golden age always stuck with me.
Yes, amazing. Hey, Peter, real quick, can we open that door if you don't mind for a bit? I'm sweating like a whore in church over here. It's so hot up here under these lights. Thank you. Just because it's so hot. So Oklahoma, interesting. And is that what got you? Because you are one of the things that I learned about you from everything you've been singing. You really do the golden age of Broadway, and did that sort of draw you to it, being in Oklahoma, or?
I gotta be honest. The first time I saw Oklahoma,
thank you, Peter.
Gosh, is it 53 or 54? It was the first widescreen movie that came out of Oklahoma. The first time I saw it, I was like, this is kind of corny, to be honest. But no, I guess I kind of just grew to love it as time went on.
Has anyone seen the Oklahoma the movie, or the original one? Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's not. Who plays Curly in the 54 Oklahoma?
I should know that, and I don't. Did anyone see the revival?
Gordon McRae.
Oh, Gordon, okay. Did anyone see the revival, 2019? Yeah. No.
It was a little different.
Yeah. Did you see it? Oh, you didn't. It was interesting. It had good music. I have to say, you got cornbread at intermission. That was really cool. They served cornbread in a crock pot, and I think chili too. Yes, it was. It was interesting. They made it a little bit more modern, which made me enjoy the music a little bit more, because that show is not one of my favorites.
Oh, really? Something that also drew me to theater big time is that my father would listen to Phantom of the Opera while he carved in the garage.
Oh, really?
He had the cassettes, and he also loved Miss Saigon, which have literally become two of my favorite things to sing. I love Saigon. Did you catch it? You caught it?
I didn't catch it here because I was not in the theater. I was not in the New York area at the time, and when it was here and I started going to school in North Jersey, I was not coming into the city that much. So unfortunately, no, I missed it. I wished I'd seen it.
Oh, it was pretty solid.
I bet.
Great show. I saw it 2 or 3 times.
I could see you as a Raoul, Phantom, Chris type, and I'm not just saying that. You give me that. In fact, I was thinking this week when you sent me the songs, I was like, I could really see him in that Raoul, type role, and Chris or John, and right, those are the two leads.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that's exciting. He's very talented, which you'll hear later on. So going back to your great grandparents, because I found this so interesting. They were in vaudeville. Do you know what they did, and how did you learn that they were in vaudeville? And is there a cool story that you have heard that stuck with you? I think that's really neat that you had that.
So I guess around 1914 or so, there was something called the Keith Abbott vaudeville circuit. It sort of transitioned from honky tonk vaudeville to something that was a little bit more sort of refined, so to speak. And I mean, my grandmother was extremely conservative. Just they all went to Catholic school. I did not. So they toured around that circuit, I guess, through the Midwest and probably through Illinois and down into some of the southern states. I wish I knew a little bit more, but they went by the Pandon sisters. They came to the United States, and their last name was Pantone, and they ended up bleaching their hair and going by a different name as to not be so clearly Italian when they were booked.
Wow.
So, and then my grandmother, after that, was an opera singer. She was a beautiful soprano.
That's beautiful. And so and she did that professionally, or?
Yeah.
So she taught you, did she teach you sort of some tricks of
never
singing?
met her. I never met her,
Oh,
but I
that's
would have
so-
loved to. I would have loved to sing with her. We have some recordings with her voice. They're just stunning.
Well, now you know where the talent, I guess, comes from. You know, that's wonderful. That is great. So you went to AMDA for college. That's really exciting. You're from Indiana.
Originally, right?
Right, originally, yeah. So what was that experience like, you know, coming to a big city, AMDA, from Indiana? What did you learn while you were at AMDA? And like, was it a wake-up call coming from
Huge wake up call. I mean, it couldn't have been any different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I started performing when I was 17. I moved here when I was 18. So it was completely, I mean, I was a month out of high school, and I was dying to get out of Indiana, as most people are. But I was so thrilled to come. And truth be told, I was cocky as hell, and New York is about as humbling as it gets, I think. So New York makes you grow up a little fast, don't it?
Yes, it does. Did you enjoy your experience at AMDA?
Yeah, it was solid. I think I wanted to venture a little further out of the dance program, so I started work studying at Steps on Broadway up at 73rd. So I loved that. And yeah, following the training that I'd gotten there, I really also wanted some more technical vocal training.
Okay.
Found this guy who had taught a lot of people in Phantom. His name is Bruce Kolb, and he was just an excellent vocal clinician. And he sort of took my voice and broke it down and trained me again from the ground up. So, I mean, training certainly didn't end there. And I love to continue training, of course.
Do you still train with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were exchanging some emails. I think we're probably meeting again next week.
What do you think is the best thing so far that he's taught you, that has helped you as a singer and through your career as you are going on right now?
That's
I'm sure it's tough.
oh gosh, I mean, well, it's so much. I suppose the breath, being conscious of the breath, and drawing more in than just air. It
Right.
says always breathe slowly, silently, and with intent. And even if the breath has to be fast, there should be a sense of it not being rushed, just like in everything else that we do. That's kind of neat.
It is neat. It is neat. What advice would you give to current college students who are pursuing a degree in musical theater and are coming, whether it's to AMDA or really, I guess, any musical theater school or musical theater major? Is there a piece of advice that you would give them that you learned that you think would be helpful?
In coming to the city,
Coming to this city, but I would say going for musical theater at all, in general.
get a side hustle. Really solid. It's really solid because I mean then you can afford your training, then you can afford nice
Mhm.
clothes for when you go into an audition. It's really important, and it's a tough lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But also just to find a teacher and training that speaks to you. And I suppose looking at your colleges, don't look at it that you're going after a degree. Find the training that's going to make you the best performer that you can be, and everybody's going to have a different fit as well. But try University of Michigan.
Yes, it's a pretty good place. So from what I hear, it's produces a lot of musical theater legends.
Uh-huh.
So you have been on the national tour of Peter and Starcatcher as Captain Scott. That was really cool. Was that your first professional sort of job outside of college?
Oh no, I spent a season in Tennessee at Roxy Regional Theater.
The name on it. That's what you get, folks. I mean, you come here. This visit's full of musical theater references and quotes.
Oh, actually, I did a couple small shows. I did a really interesting production of Joseph, and I did Sweeney Todd in Jersey. And actually,
Do you know a theater in Jersey?
that was through a company called Premier Theater Company, and it was in Asbury Park at this big theater at the end of the boardwalk. It was very pretty and it was very large. We didn't quite fill it.
I wasn't sure. I'm from Jersey. There's a lot of big regional theaters there, so I wasn't sure. Haven't heard of that one.
And after that Joseph and Sweeney Todd, I booked a whole season because you know how it is. The small regional theaters. Sometimes you go and you do 4 shows in a row.
Oh, okay.
I mean, gosh, it was Peter Pan. I played Twin 2 or something, but it was fun. Everybody's got to have that sort of summer stock experience. Spamalot, which I've never been super crazy about, but it's fun to tap. South Pacific, which I've done a couple times, and then Rocky Horror, and I played Rocky, and that was probably the highlight of being there.
That's incredible.
Uh-huh.
That must have been a lot of fun.
That was a blast.
What did you learn from that role as Rocky? Was that helped you for propelling you? That helped as you continued to propel?
Just let go. I mean, let go and be comfortable on stage
Yeah.
and kind of just be shameless. I mean, because it was like, what you're wearing, like a little gold bikini. I guess they were like in a little gold Speedo and cowboy boots, and that's pretty much it. So we while I was doing Spamalot, it was like really rigorous workouts after the show, just because God knows, like, you got hecklers in the audience for that show.
I know.
Have you ever seen it? If you've ever seen it in person, it's a cult classic.
Yeah, it is.
It's fun.
I didn't catch it when it was on Broadway again. I'm from South Jersey, so the New York City was about 2 hours away from us. Our city was Philadelphia, so I didn't get to the New York until 2011. But I heard Spamalot was really good. I loved the soundtrack. I listened to it all the time. So now I'm curious. You said that the Joseph production you did was interesting. What was interesting about it?
Ooh, it was just a rushed rehearsal process, and I almost shouldn't have said the name of the company, so I could really talk truthfully. It's gonna be about it. But you were rather honest about your opinion on the show you saw. So
Well, yes.
well, it was it was just really rushed, and everybody wants to look good in your costume.
Yes.
And there's nothing like putting your costume on and be like, I'm wearing this. This is what I'm wearing. So they were kind of busted.
Oh, I
And,
guess.
I
understand that.
It was it was just a small show, and it was a great first job and sort of learning experience. A bit of a
that's
rush
wonderful.
rehearsal process, which God knows we deal with pretty often.
I'm sure, yeah. Well, for me, I don't think there's ever a bad production of Joseph. It's actually one of the shows. It's the show that actually got me into musical theater. The Donny Osmond version. As I'm sure you all have seen that. Have you seen the Donny Osmond TV version with Maria Friedman and Richard Attenborough? And first grade, I went to Catholic school for 9 years. So it's funny you said I went to Catholic school for 9 years. So
How was that?
Well, I went to Catholic school for 9 years. I was the poster child of everything you shouldn't be. My parents divorced in 5th grade, and I came out as gay by 7th grade. So
Good for you.
I was
Good
just
for
thank you. I was everything that you shouldn't be. We were the poster children of what you shouldn't be at a Catholic school. But it was. I went to public high school, and it was the best. But Joseph was what got my love into theater, and so it holds a special place in my heart. So that's why I was curious. I was actually got to do it. Perform it when I used to perform, so that's why I was curious what was interesting about it. So.
Do you know that it's a 92 London revival with Jason Donovan?
Yes.
It is the best. It is the
is.
best
It is.
cast, like the best, one of the best revival recordings. That and the '79 Oklahoma on Broadway.
Oh, interesting.
It's just fantastic. But yeah, I'm like a total sucker for that
Oh my gosh.
that West End revival of Joseph.
Well, yes, because now Jason Donovan is back in the revival of Joseph. They've done it pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. He's playing Pharaoh.
Solid.
So,
I want to see video. I want to see.
Oh,
video.
I want to get over and see the actual production because I'm that person that wants a Joseph revival here on Broadway. I don't care if I have to direct it myself. I don't have experience, but I'll do it because they have the guy's name is Jack Yarrow, who's starring as Joseph. A nice young, he's like 20, he's a cutie, starring as Joseph, and then Jason Donovan is starring as Pharaoh.
Super solid.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I bet he's great. He's great.
Yeah, he is. So when you were a part of Peter and the Starcatcher, what was that experience like? How did you come about the audition process for that, and what was it like preparing for a national tour?
So when I booked Peter and the Starcatcher, I went to like 3 auditions in a day. At least I tried to get seated at some regional Les Mis and also put my name on the list for Tokyo Disney, which was just like kind of for kicks because I wanted to try out a new audition song.
Right.
I also went to Starcatcher and I kind of just went in and tried an audition song out because they actually sang us first, which is interesting because it's a play with music. But I went to try out Martin. Martin Guerre. It's a Boublil and Schoenberg that didn't quite do as well as Saigon and Les Mis. But I went in to try out a song from Martin Guerre and ended up getting a call back. And I also went to Tokyo Disney and I booked both of those jobs that day.
Wow.
And it's funny because I thought I bombed the callback at Starcatcher because they cut me off midway. But I was like, oh well, you got to bomb sometimes.
So were you able to do both? Did you have to put one on hold? What did you?
So I was like in between the 2 jobs, but I had to make a list of the pros and cons for Starcatcher and the pros and cons for Tokyo. I took 5 minutes coming up with the pros for one and 5 minutes of the pros for the other, and then the same for, cons. Then I took 5 minutes to decide, and I lived the next 2 days like I'd made that decision. And honestly, obviously, looking back on it, the right thing was to take Starcatcher because it's not something I could do again. However, when I was 26, I called Tokyo Disney, and I was like, "Hey, can I come to Tokyo?" And they had me. So yeah, I got to do both of them, and it was it was wonderful. But I didn't get seen for Les Mis.
Oh. Maybe the next one when it comes, you will. Well, I'm going to have you sing now, but when we come back, I want to talk to you more about Disneyland, Tokyo, Paris, and also we're going to talk to Mick about being slapped by Beth Level in the face. It's a pretty interesting story. So, do tell us what you are singing.
This is The Song Is You from Music in the Air. It's a Hammerstein and Kern from the 30s. I hear music when I look at you, a beautiful theme of every dream I ever knew. Down deep in my heart, I hear it play, I feel it start, then melt away. I hear music when I touch your hand, a beautiful melody from some enchanted land. Down deep in my heart, I hear it say, is this the day? I alone have heard this lonely strain. I alone have heard this glad refrain. Must it be forever inside of me? Why can't I let it go? Why can't I let you know? Why can't I let you know the song my heart would sing? That beautiful rhapsody of love and youth and spring. The music is sweet, the words are true, the song is you.
Wow! Oh my God! Another round of applause for Mick, everyone. Oh my God! Beautiful, Miles. Thank you, my dear. That was wow. Well, that's one of the reasons why I had you on, Mick. Your voice is just absolutely beautiful. That was
sweet.
I've never heard that song before. That was really.
It's a sort of lesser known one that's become a standard, but it's a beautiful, beautiful tune. I mean, anything Hammerstein and Kern,
Right.
I will always listen to it.
I mean, that was incredible. Well, thank you for gracing us with that.
Of course.
So you went to Tokyo Disney. What was it like to work in Disneyland in Tokyo? And then you also, I know, were in Paris as well. That must have been interesting. I mean,
It was
an American in Disneyland, Tokyo. It sounds like a musical, but that
Well,
must have been
Paris,
interesting. I know, yeah, right.
It was. I mean, I don't know if it. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say culture shock. It was
Sure.
wild because I was there for 9 months,
Mhm.
and I think one of the most interesting things about working there was the rehearsal process, because the Japanese will work really, really hard. They're an extremely kind and wonderful, gracious people. Everything was so clean and was like ready to a T. But when you show up to a rehearsal, it better be ready. You better be ready. And if they give you a correction, it's there and it's perfect every single time, or you're gonna hear about it. But they were very accommodating to us, being foreign. However, they didn't quite expect us to be working like 16-hour days, but like they do so often. But yeah, the rehearsal process was most different. Because it was like, take 3 steps here, look here, as opposed to in the United States when mistakes are generally encouraged in rehearsal. I mean, it's how a lot of things come about,
Of
right?
course. Were you equity at that time?
Yes, I was, and it was out of union jurisdiction.
Oh, I was going to say, was it? So I guess that's why you work so much, because I was going to say, did equity, like, that doesn't sound like equity approval. Oh my gosh. But do you think it made you a better performer, having that sort of style of that dedication that they taught you of, being very precise and everything? Do you think that only helped you down the line?
Big time, because going into my next job, which was actually straight to Disney Paris, which is exactly what I wanted to do. I showed up being super prepared. I mean, you always have to have your music absolutely, and all your lines put dead letter perfect, as they say. So yeah, I mean, the work ethic just behind it just had to be spot on, and I learned from that. Yeah.
Has anyone been to Disneyland, Paris, or Tokyo?
Tokyo is spotless.
Really?
Paris is very French.
How about Disneyland in California? Anyone been to Disneyland? Yeah. Did you like it? I've never been.
Yeah, I like it.
When was the last time you were there?
Probably at the 20.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get out there. I hear it's the original, Disney. So, but I hear Tokyo and Paris are nice too.
I mean, Tokyo is like every last detail is it's perfect.
Isn't there Castle Glass? Or am I making that?
No, I know that China has, is it Shanghai that has an incredible castle, but no, not in Tokyo.
Okay, but that's so cool. Were you? And what was your role in there? Were you?
It wasn't anything super fancy or flashy. I was singing like old American songs for a lunch show. However, I saw they have a show called Big Band Beat. And I went in there, and I mean, it's in this big, beautiful theater with like a mezzanine, tap dancers, and like the songs are all like 30s, 40s. And I walked out of that show, and I was like, that was like a Broadway show. I want to be in that show. And I found out they did it in Paris. And I was like, after this, I want to go do it in Paris. So I found the listing on the website that was in French, and like the application was in French. I didn't speak very much French at all, but I kind of just deduced, what each word meant, like put my name in there.
Yeah.
And I sent an audio recording. I was the only American in the cast, and I pushed my way into that production. But it was great. Over there, it was also like a new Christmas format of the show. Matt West, who did Beauty and the Beast just on the West End, and he's going to do it on Broadway for the second time, directed and choreographed it. So it was really neat. It was just
Is it coming to Broadway?
The Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
It's supposed to. It's very tap heavy.
So okay. Well, I mean, I had heard rumor.
It was planned to do pre-COVID.
Right. Well, I heard rumor, but I guess it sounds okay. Well, it's funny because I mentioned this a few weeks ago that it was I was hoping it was going to come, and I had heard that it was possible that it was, but it sounds like you know for sure. So.
Oh well, I mean, it was definitely for sure, but God knows COVID. I have no idea.
So it's going to be a very tap-heavy show. I'm excited for that new production. That'll be good. There was actually, I did hear rumor that it was supposed to be going to the St. James because American Utopia is closing in April. They just extended to April. And I had heard it was going to St. James, which would make sense. But then I said, and now they're redoing the Palace Theater. And it was originally opened at the Palace before it moved to the L'Enfantin. So my thought was maybe they're going to reopen the Palace with Beauty and the Beast, because I think the Palace is supposed to be done either by the end of this year, beginning of next year, but it is much needed Beauty and the Beast, so that's exciting.
Oh, I'm so for it.
And he's going to be directing, is it, or tap?
He's a choreographer.
Wow. And that's really exciting. You've had a great experience with that in Disney. That's awesome.
Blast. And also, the wonderful thing about Disney is that you get at least 2 or 3 days off in a row, and you can like swap. So when I was in Tokyo, I went to like Malaysian Borneo. Literally, like went through rainforest.
I love your face, Katie. 2 or 3. What'd you say?
2 or 3 days.
Isn't that nice? I know, right? You're in the wrong profession.
Well, I mean, but it was awesome. So, I mean, really, I could get like, if I wanted to, like 4 or 5 if I could. And when I went to Paris, I hit Switzerland, London, I don't know, Strasbourg, Amsterdam. Very interesting experience.
Oh my gosh, that is very interesting. So that all then led to, because you told me to make sure to touch on this, and it was very interesting. That all led to then you being in a concert production of, I believe it was Hairspray with John Waters, and Beth Level ending up slapping you across the face on
She
stage.
got me right in the face.
Well, how did this happen? Do tell. I adore Beth Level. She is a doll. She's grabbed my face on a few occasions when I was interviewing her. She's a lovely lady.
She's so sweet, and she's absolutely hilarious. And like, what an unbelievable talent. Just to watch rehearse and to be part of the production was great. I knew a choreographer, and she asked me for a video, and they actually needed a dancer. So I like faked my way into that production of Hairspray with John Waters at the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. It was their like 50th anniversary, centennial anniversary. I don't know. Anyway, John Waters kind of like came out in between scenes and like narrated this production. Beth Level was in it. The whole cast was unbelievable. And she played Velma Von Tussle, of course. Oh yeah, and so during Baltimore Crabs, there were like 3 of us guys, and I was like in the front of this pyramid, and like we were like there was like a bit of a tango, which is like I was going with Beth Level. Oh my god. And the director during rehearsal was just like, okay, you go step, step. Beth, dismiss him, and she was like, is it okay if I give you a slap? And I was like, is it? And so yes, so she got me across the face, and she was like, is that too hard? And I was like, no.
Oh my God, that's
So it's wonderful. That was fun production.
yeah, that sounds like it. And you also have gotten to work with Michael Arden, the incredible Michael Arden, in My Fair Lady at Bay Street Theater out in the Hamptons.
Unbelievable.
Fancy.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, he's a visionary.
He's absolutely a visionary. It's like a perfect way to put it. The whole rehearsal process was so based around character development for everybody, because I was in the ensemble and I understudied Freddie. But even for everybody in the ensemble, developing your character's walk, and I mean, I just remember that the rehearsal process was so extensive, and it was such a team and a group effort. And he was a perfectionist down to opening night.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it was like
sure.
change. So there was a lot going through our minds. But what a wonderful person to be able to work with. Yeah, he was wonderful.
That's wonderful. I love that. Casey, my dear, would you mind getting the shots ready?
Of course.
Now is one of my favorite times of the show. I mean, the whole show is my favorite, but it is trivia time. So how this is going to work, this is the Broadway trivia segment that I do. I have 4 trivia questions. I'm going to ask the question, raise your hand. The person whose hand I see that is raised first. If you guess it correctly, you get a prize. The special part about tonight is sponsored by Broadway Plus. They have provided the prizes, and the prizes tonight include a fabulous official Broadway Plus tote bag, and inside is a $50 Broadway Plus gift card to use to any online virtual experience, including a Broadway celebrity shout out, meet and greet. So you'll see in there, you just have to email me and I'll hook you up with the Broadway Plus concierge and we'll get it set up. But again, thank you, Broadway Plus. They are wonderful. Nathaniel Hill, who runs it, is a doll. Again, some artists you can get in there is Adam Pascal, Alex Brightman, Beth Level, all the good ones. So, all right, let's begin. I know I've got some theater lovers in the audience tonight, so I think tonight's going to be good. The last few weeks, people have been stumped. So, the first question is, what highly anticipated musical will be opening at the Barrymore Theater starting previews on March 15th? Kitty?
Mr. Saturday Night.
Not Mr. Saturday Night, no.
Funny Girl.
Nope, not Funny Girl. It's a brand new musical. It's the producer produced Ragtime.
Paradise Square.
Yes, but raise your hand.
I won't.
Yes. Yes, come here, Miles. Congratulations, my love. Yes, Paradise Square. What'd you say?
Extra credit if you've already seen it.
Yes,
Oh,
she's bringing it
nice.
over here. What'd you say?
Extra credit if I've already seen it.
Yes, right. Oh, you saw it? Oh, what did you think of
I
it?
loved it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I've heard really good things. I'm very excited. I can't wait. Oh, amazing. Okay, so second question. What was the last production to play at the Richard Rodgers Theater before Hamilton? Now, this is a multiple choice. So the last production that played at the Richard Rodgers Theater before Hamilton. Was it A, Seussical, B, If Then, C, Porgy and Bess, or D, Tarzan? What was the last musical to play at the Richard Rodgers Theater right before Hamilton opened? A, Seussical, B, If Then, C, Porgy and Bess, D, Tarzan.
I'll say If Then.
Yes, If Then, that is correct. Correct. Congrats, Mick, here you go. Grab the tote bag. This is for you. Grab this at the end. This is for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yes, If Then, which, yes, and grab a shot as well, yes.
All right.
Did anyone see If Then?
This is why we do the trivia after you sing.
I so appreciate that.
I love it. Did anyone see If Then? Yeah.
That was delicious.
Yeah,
Green tea shots?
right? Yeah, Richard Rodgers. I saw it in Philadelphia on tour before with Jackie Burns, and Anthony Rapp, but I didn't see it on Broadway. Okay, the third question. Which musical currently holds the record for the most musical that has received the most Tony Award nominations? What musical holds the record for having the most Tony Award nominations?
I have to guess Hamilton.
Yes, Hamilton! Come here, my love. Yes, it is Hamilton. You get the
It's like
Broadway
trick
Plus,
question, trick question.
and here you go inside. And if you would like, you can grab a shot. What are the shots, Casey? Would you put them?
Green tea.
Oh, green tea.
Really tasty. Really tasty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Congrats. Enjoy. And you all are getting a Broadway Plus experience, so that's going to be awesome. All right, final question. This is for the final Broadway Plus tote bag. What musical was the most expensive production in the history of Broadway? And still is. And still is. The most expensive. The most expensive production.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Sounds like he was a part of it.
Well, but those who have not called, anybody that Lauren, you want to take a guess?
Yeah, Casey knows it.
Go.
I'll go to you, Casey. The most expensive musical.
Yeah, I was gonna say like King Kong or maybe Spider-Man, something like that.
You just said it. You just said it.
Yes,
Yes,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man. You're right. Yes, congrats. Here you go, Lauren.
Solid guess with King Kong though.
Yeah.
Well, here you go.
That was
Well,
fun.
King Kong was
That
also
puppet was
King
fun.
Kong was also a loser. Here you go. Anyway, and then grab a shot. Congratulations.
But
Let's give.
nobody got hurt and fucked up turkey.
Well,
Right.
yeah, right. That's true. Let's give everyone a round of applause for trivia.
Nice.
That's fucked up, Rye.
What'd you say?
So that's fucked up. My shit was up. And
Well,
you looked directly at me. And
I did,
recorded.
but I didn't. I was waiting to see if anyone in the audience had guessed it. I knew you knew.
That's fine.
I knew you knew.
Be like that.
Oh, if you want to, I'll get you a tote after. I didn't mean.
We are in the same household.
I
so
knew
there's
that you-
one top we're not- that's yours.
I knew you knew it, but yeah, Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark. $70 million was the raise. I think was what it totaled to. It's the most expensive.
10,000 shows.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, shows are getting more expensive to produce. I mean, 20, 30 million, but it's 70 million. I mean, and it was the biggest flop. But yeah, King Kong didn't last that long either, and was. I mean, I don't know what that was capitalized at, but you know. So thank you again, everyone, for trivia. Thank you, Broadway Plus, who was our sponsor. Once again, Broadway Plus, since its founding in 2016, has garnered incomparable press as the industry leader in connecting people with Broadway in a whole new way. Broadway Plus is the only official provider of VIP experiences for Broadway, the #1 booking platform for Broadway artists, and the only luxury concierge service dedicated to Broadway. So now that things are open, if you also want to do a VIP Broadway experience, they can set it up. I mean, they've done some great things. When prior to COVID, it was you went to the show, they gave you a drink, you got a goodie bag, you got to meet the cast. Broadway Plus is incredible. So to those who want, take advantage. You'll see in there my email, and we'll get you set on up. And next week, our sponsor is going to be Playbill. So we've got some exciting prizes from Playbill. You've heard it here first, so it's going to be great. So I have to ask, you know, Mick, you and I met at Orange Theory. I was talking earlier about working out, and I found you to be very supportive. Orange Theory itself is a very supporting environment, but you were such a great coach. And so I'm wondering, how did you get started in the fitness world? I know that you did sports, but what turned you to sort of pursue fitness? Because now you're also a personal trainer.
Personal trainer, and it's all that I have to do on the
Yeah.
side. That's my B job.
How did this come about?
So, as an actor, you're going to go from unemployed to employed to unemployed. That's the cycle. That's just the life that you've chosen.
Mhm.
And instead of like slinging drinks, which I did at like Angus Bistro at 44th and 8th, across from Phantom
amazing.
for a while. It's great, but I just wanted something a little bit different, and I know that fitness makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
And it's just like natural endorphins, especially when you don't have health insurance and can't afford antidepressants. You know what I mean? So I actually, while I was in Paris, I was getting certified as a personal trainer through National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is the best certification. And
What does that mean? Because I know that I know most of the trainers that I know are through that National Academy.
Yeah.
Is that like the main, is that like the one?
There are several different ones, but some programs are really comprehensive. Some programs really focus in on anatomy, and I think it's like the most well-rounded, and they have a really good system of fitness from starting somebody to ground and going all the way up.
Okay.
And so, I was getting certified while I was in Paris, passed the test as soon as I got back in which was like mid-January 2020. Hey, something happened shortly after that closed the world down. I totally forget what it was. It's obviously COVID. I mean, obviously, everything was closed, but then I got a call from someone at Orange Theory, just like from a friend of a friend. It's like, hey, I heard you're a trainer. We need trainers. And it was awesome. And, midway through COVID, they had the personal training sessions because they couldn't have classes.
Yeah.
Had a million of those, got some private clients, works as a flexibility therapist as well after Orange Theory because I made a little bit of a transition there. And I had to quit my flexibility therapist job because I have a full schedule of clients.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of performers are sort of in that certified personal training world. Do you think that because sort of performing is so, it's a workout in and of itself, that sort of correlates with where we see a lot of, performers who are, and I don't say that in a bad way, I love it, but I've noticed that there's a lot of performers who are also trainers as well. Do you think that probably has something to do with it?
I mean, big time, because you need stamina for a show. I mean, especially depending on the show. Speaking of Starcatcher, I mean, it was an extremely physical stamina kind of show. So I mean, that helps quite a bit. And also with the dance, I just had a tap private, and it was the first time I've tapped in over 2 years, and I've never felt so at ease and comfortable just based off of what I've been doing fitness wise. That's
amazing. And now you do it full time, which is incredible. I mean, that's got to be a dream come true to be able to.
It's like a 14-hour work week. Yeah,
Wow.
It is, and it's extremely flexible. I don't request time off for auditions. I don't have to reschedule. You know what I mean? But
So being your own boss, people.
It is. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. I love my clients. But it's great to have something that's really flexible.
Have you heard of what is it? Is it Built for Broadway or the?
Broadway Body.
Built for Broadway or Built for the Stage.
Built for the Stage.
Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, they're set for Broadway.
Much, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What do you think is in doing that you've learned the most that you've taken with you to use in your performing aspect of your career in personal training?
Oh gosh. Well, given that I just started personal training and COVID hit, I mean, most of what I've just done since we've come back is a couple stage readings and going into auditions. However, I do feel like exercise makes me more calm.
Yeah.
I feel more confident dancing and just in my body. And I think anything that makes you a better and more well-rounded person makes you a better actor. And I think that's something that training's done for me.
That's great. Well, as I said, you helped me a lot, and as I said, I do.
He's wonderful. This guy puts
thank
in
you.
work. This guy puts in work. It was fun.
Thank you. I try. I have to when you're paying that amount, but it's also, but it's also. I do love it. As I said, I've joined the Orange Theory cult. It is. I ran about it to everyone. If you're looking for a workout, I'm not going to get too off topic, but if you're looking for a workout, a gym that is a group experience and it's very kind and encouraging, go for Orange Theory because I love them, and there's one right near me, so it's even better. So now that we're getting out of the brunt of the pandemic, out of lockdown, as you emerge and you start to perform, is there specific types of roles that you hope to go out for that maybe prior to COVID you didn't, or are there sort of certain things you have your eye on more than you did prior to COVID, whether it's priorities for performing or roles you want to do?
Priorities for performing. I know that I've gotten to a place where I'm not necessarily going to do Peter Pan in Minnesota. You know what I mean? I'm trying to look at less towards ensemble roles, which are wonderful, unless it's a really wonderful production that I can perhaps stay in New York. Do my best to stay in the tri-state area. I'm in callbacks for 2 productions right now.
Amazing.
One which is in the tri-state area, and another which is here in New York. It's so it would be a blast, but yeah, I'm looking for more supporting roles, lead roles. I've got to do that to keep moving forward. It's like a consistent pyramid. So it gets tougher as you go, but I stuck with my training through COVID, and I'm really, really happy that I did.
It's important, and not everyone did. So I know we have some new people in the audience. Welcome. This is Live with Rye Friends on Broadway, the new free Broadway talk show here in the heart of Hell's Kitchen. And my special guest tonight is the incredible MICK RAFALKSKI. And as you just saw, we had trivia a few minutes ago. Broadway Plus is our sponsor tonight. Next week is our sponsor is going to be Playbill. So that's exciting. There's a world where if I wasn't doing what I do with this, I wanted to be a musical theater performer. I had for a while when I was in high school, I did all the shows, and there was a part of me that thought one day I'd be a Broadway performer, and I knew that was not in the
But
cards.
you're contributing to it so well, and it's so
Thank
wonderful
you.
that you're
Thank you.
contributing to it.
Well, this is my, as I say, this is my love letter to the theater, but also what I do is, I can give to my community that I love in this way, and you don't have to hear me sing, but I always say to people, I gave up my dancing shoes in 2012, which my final performance was Titanic. I did it at a local community theater show.
Amazing.
It was.
Amazing.
I just found the pictures actually on Facebook, and I was like, oh God, I was like, what? I was like 17, 18, and but at that same theater, I actually did Joseph. At that same theater.
Everybody's got to do Joseph once.
Well, and here's the thing, I did Joseph, and this is how young and naive I was. I was in 8th grade, I did Joseph, and I was like, I made a production of Joseph. It's a community theater, it's still good, but it's not, but I'm like, I'm gonna send my professional production of Joseph. I reached out to everyone from the movie and the Joseph Productions, inviting them to the show, and because I was just like, I wanted to, and of course, a lot of everybody, but I got Miss Maria Friedman, she is, thank you, but Miss Maria Friedman is not going to travel to this. Okay, I figured she was going to the US, but then Donny Osmond obviously wasn't coming because they was like, oh, unless you, they said, I don't think you can afford his fee, but I still have it saved. I actually ended up hearing back from the performer Kelly Rebke, if you know that. She was in the 1992 production with Donny Osmond as the narrator. And she called, and I got in touch with her people, and she left me a voicemail. I was in 8th grade. I almost shit a brick. She was just like, I saw that you wanted me to come. It's so sweet of you. Unfortunately, I'm out of town. But thank you so much for thinking of me. But anyway, I just thought I forget the guy who played Pharaoh in the movie. But I reached out to his people. I was just so darn excited. Yeah, it was fun, and I thought it was this whole big thing, and it was just a fucking committed theater production.
Perfect. No, it's a whole big thing. It meant something.
Yeah, it was and it was great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I had my solo taken away from me 3 days before opening, which was traumatizing. But I was one of the brothers, and then I'll never forget. I was one of the brothers, and I was it was my first show, and I couldn't get the beat for Benjamin's Calypso. I had that I hear the steel drums sing their song. And I couldn't get it. It was like 2 days before we opened the previews, and they slashed it for me. They said, oh, you're just not getting it. So it's okay. I ended up being one of the prisoners instead. Hey, Joseph, don't be so upset. But I was still really crushed, because it's it was embarrassing. But it was an interesting, interesting
great
time.
Cameo role. That's a great.
Being in 8th grade, and and as I said, it was an interesting time. I thought it was, as I said, I thought it was the best production. And it was at a local barn for a community theater, and that was my extent of what I loved about performing. So yeah, it's a big laugh. It makes for great stories now. So what has been the biggest lesson that you think you've learned since graduating college about being a performer that you can pass on? I think aside from just advice for people going to musical theater, people go into musical theater, they graduate, and I'm sure it's different for everyone. The experience is different. Is there something that you could offer that has helped you, that you think can help someone else getting out of it, that you didn't know, that oh, holy shit, it was a wake-up call, or I didn't expect this, or they didn't tell me or teach me this, and this happened instead?
Smell the roses. Experience everything in your contract. Obviously, keep your nose to music and keep working hard, but also experience life and experience everything around you. Don't put things on hold. I'm so grateful that I went to Japan and that I went to Paris, because it's something that I had put on the back burner and that I was a little nervous to do, but it has, it enriched my life in so many different ways. And I suppose I would love to share this. After My Fair Lady, which Carol Shelley, oh God rest her, she was such a sweetheart.
Was she in that?
Yeah. She played Mrs. Higgins. And I carried an umbrella for her. And she and I became pals, and we used to read Shakespeare in her flat. And she'd have sandwiches. She lived over by Columbus Circle, and she taught me she just broke down Shakespeare for me. And one of the last times that I met with her, I asked her, I said, what's the best piece of advice that you can give to an actor? If you could give one piece of advice. And she said, keep going. I thought it was so interesting that in all her unbelievable career that she had, that she said, keep going. And I think that's probably just wonderful to pass on.
Yeah, that is so keep going. Wow, then that is, as somebody who is on the outside looking at, worked 6 months in casting, I know how hard you all work, seeing everyone come in day after day when I was working in this office. But it's, I feel so ever passionate for performers even more because that hustle, I can't even imagine how you all do it. So, keep going is true. And I think that could be for any career, but especially performing. I really, as I say, I don't know how performers do it. I give them all of the love and props and congrats in the world to all of our performers in the room because, I don't know. As I said, I was 6 months, I interned at Chelsea & Company, which is a big casting office. But I was, physically drained watching the same people in and out every day who were so talented and coming to the same open call, coming to the same dance call. And I thought, how do people do this day after day and this audition, that audition? And I was like, if I am tired, not tired and like, oh, I'm tired of watching, exhausted, what you all must feel. So, I give you, as a performer, and the performers watching, all the props because I just don't know how you do it. Do you have a dream role that you hope to play one day?
Oh,
And
the
if so, what
Phantom
is
of
it?
the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera. I've always had a huge soft spot for it. So give me like 10 years.
You want to play the fan?
Yeah, I would love to. I know I'm more appropriate for Ralph. But I do love the music as 80s mega pop as it is. And speaking of which, so yeah, somewhere between Raoul or Phantom and Chris in Miss Saigon.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down, hands down. I think I've seen Chris almost every day. This is my girlfriend. We live together. I'm sorry.
So you have to hear him every day. Nobody, you only hear a good singer. So I don't. You from the neighbors, I would feel are probably.
Oh, we don't share walls with anyone.
Oh,
And we've
okay.
soundproofed the floor of the office.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
amazing.
we have a singing studio.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. That's wonderful. Those are great. Those are great roles. Have you seen any shows recently that you loved on Broadway?
Well, we saw Phantom. Had you never seen Phantom before on Broadway? It's just been a while.
Yeah.
I've seen Phantom 15 or 16 times on Broadway. And especially because I used to second act it sometimes, sometimes you grab a ticket from somebody who's walking out like, hey, can I have your ticket? So
I've heard of that, but I thought that was I thought that was like,
oh no.
You could
Just
still.
don't let the ushers know that you're coming back in because once one lady was kind of snappy or whatever. Look on your phone where the seat is and just walk in. You're just like, oh yeah, smoke a cigarette. You know what I mean? I go see the second act. Yeah, second act it. So we saw it.
Don't give me any.
I've seen it so many times. I have such critiques. But the Raoul was wonderful. We love that, and we saw Wicked. And Wicked was my first show, and we didn't know about intermission, and we left at intermission. I was like, we didn't know about intermission. No, this was I was like 15 or something. I was like 14 or 15. And we didn't know about intermission, and we left, and the cab driver was like, it's not really supposed to get out for like another 10 minutes, or for for an hour or something, however long the second act is. And we were like, what? And my little sister starts crying, she was like 10, and she was so upset. And Carol Shelley, having originated Madame Morgul, was like, well, you must go see it. Go second act it. And we saw Wicked. And that was our first.
Did you see it when you saw it that time? Was it with the original cast? When you saw it the first
It
time?
wasn't. It wasn't. But it was like damn near. It was a special cast. Yeah, it was fun.
That's exciting. Yeah. Do you have a favorite Phantom that you've seen in Phantom of the Opera?
Okay, this is really gonna show how much of a nerd I am about this. In 1989, 1990, a guy named Kevin Gray, who has since passed. He taught at Hartford School of Music. Shakespearean actor. He also did Engineer in Miss Saigon. Kevin Gray, unreal Phantom. This guy put his soul into it. You must have thought that this guy must have collapsed when he got off stage. It was so real. It was absolutely fantastic.
Amazing.
I enjoyed Hugh Panaro as well.
So good.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's a really nice guy. He came into the bar, was bartending at. He was total sweetie.
Oh, yeah. I saw him in Sweeney Todd when he did
Really? Is Anthony?
No, in the downtown.
Oh.
He was playing Sweeney. That's the downtown at
It was off Broadway?
at the church. Yeah.
How did I miss that?
That was like with Carol Shelley. Oh my God, Carol Lee Carmello was his Mrs. Lovett. Yeah. It was like that interactive one where it was like on picnic tables and they come up and yeah.
That's so cool.
Like I was like this close to him. I could see like the blood on his hands from the it's amazing.
And actually Howard McGillen was in My Fair Lady as well. And so that was Nate, and he's done hundreds and like thousands.
I think he's one of the longest running.
Yeah, he was the longest running Phantom period. So
Wow.
just my name also. Okay, that's right.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. Well, as we finish up here, Mick, where can we keep up with you? Where can we follow you?
Check my website. I keep it updated. MICKRAFALKSKI.com.
Amazing.
Follow the Insta if you'd like. I'll definitely also keep that posted. I post singing stories and then follow me.
Yes.
So I try to post some vocal stuff as much as I can. Check out the website from time to time. Hopefully there'll be a cool update within a few weeks.
Well, it's important to keep the website updated, so I like that you do that. So,
Right.
so I've gone on many actors' websites, it's not updated, and then it's like, I just kind of find information, and it's like 5 years old, so.
No.
Amazing. Well, any sort of parting words before we go? Anything that I didn't get to touch on that you'd like to share? Any words of wisdom you would like to impart to our audience, the people watching, fellow performers?
Just thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for having the show and keeping the Broadway news going and everything. And I mean, especially after COVID, I think we need stuff like this. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Let's everyone give Mick a round of applause. Our incredible guest tonight. Thank you. Thank you everyone at home, everyone here. I really can't thank you enough. Next week's guest is the incredible Lara Strong. She is just moved here from New Zealand. She's a New Zealand actress, singing sensation, and she did a concert here a few weeks ago, sold out the place. I cannot wait to talk with her, and I am very excited. Next week will be sponsored by Playbill, so come on out because they have given some awesome prizes for Playbill. Stick around after the show if you like. There's dueling pianos up next. Very exciting. And then if you also love theater, Masks and Musicals, Broadway karaoke is on Tuesdays. For those who come here often, I know it used to follow Live with Rye Friends on Broadway, but it moved to Tuesday nights at 8:30. So if you love to sing your heart out for free and you want to do Broadway karaoke, Masks and Musicals at 8:30 p.m. And thank you to everyone here. Let's give a round of applause for Casey, our bartender, Jared, Peter at the door, everyone, Miles. Round of applause for Miles. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.
And Brian.
Thank you, you all.
Sam. Sam.
Oh yeah, that's what you think.
What?
That's my new philosophy. Oh yeah, that's what you think.
Well, why are you telling me? Why are you telling me?
Why are you telling me? I like it.
Oh wait.
Philosophy.
Should I do that?
Why are you